What's up, guys? My name is Vince and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Basically, this channel is my chance to kind of share my cars and kind of what my style is I love to modify my cars and drive the fuck out of them. So if that's your kind of style, welcome. So this video, if you're not able to tell with the title, this is going to be my thoughts on using this car, my 2020 Supra, as my daily driver. So as of this video, I have about 39,600, 700 miles on it, and not really full bolt-ons, but it's got bigger turbo, port injection, additional fueling basically. No low pressure fuel pump yet. Lowered, I did some tasteful mods on this. The only thing that I really did in my ownership are the wheels that you see, which is the T37 Sagas. If you're wondering about the setup, I have another video about that. I'll put that in the description below. But so far, so good. I love this car. I've owned it since November 2020. So I got a pretty damn good deal on it, considering the prices for just used cars just shot up. And right now, it's June 9th, 2022, I mean, the prices are still very, very high. So definitely jumped in at the right moment to get this car, and it's been such an awesome experience for me. So, if you guys are in the market for a Supra, or if you already have one and you're wondering if, this car can be dailied, or just, what are the thoughts of someone that's actually driven it a lot, you've tuned into the right video. So let's hop into it. All right, so we'll go over the pros of the ownership of this car. So like I mentioned, I've owned this since November 2020, so I'm getting pretty close to 2 years of ownership with this thing. Pros, it's fun. I mean, you buy these type of cars, it's a sports car. You buy it so, you can have fun with it. I definitely wanted always something that was fun as a daily driver, since, I'm a car enthusiast. I don't want to have my commute be extremely boring. So this definitely checks the box for that. It is fast, so stock, these are already pretty quick as just, a road car. And then once you start throwing mods into it, it becomes quite a handful. So I'm getting close, or I'm at about 700 wheel on this thing, about, same amount of torque. And honestly, it's a lot for the streets. I mean, either way, I wanted to go fast and I got it with this. It's also very well refined. I came from Subarus, had a Civic Type R before this, and it's really well refined. So I don't see what the hate for this car being, majority BMW. But if you've driven BMW sports cars, they make great sports cars. So I'm not sure why people hate on Toyota so much, because it works. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay, heated seats. The seats are very comfortable. I've taken it on multiple 9-hour road trips, round trip, and it's been great to me. It also gets pretty good gas mileage for the type of car and the mods that I have in it. On this, if I was to use it just on gasoline, 91, 93 octane, on the highway, cruising speed, I'll probably get, I don't know, 34 miles per gallon. So, I mean, that's just unheard of when it comes to, pretty modified sports cars. And then if I throw ethanol in that, I'll probably get 25, 26 miles per gallon, which is about as expected with the MPG loss whenever you start adding ethanol to the mix. And then of course, mixed driving, probably 30, 31 miles per gallon on gasoline, and then about 22 to 21 miles per gallon on ethanol. So it's pretty damn awesome for that kind of package, for, what you can do with this car. And also, it's just very moddable. The modding community has, really taken this car in, and, whether you're into bagging your car, just doing aesthetics, or if you're performance, just straight line speed, or even circuit racing, this car is very capable. The market has really provided a lot of options for the car. So, regardless of what route you're wanting to take with it, you got a lot of options. The community, in my experience, they've been pretty great. Of course, you get your sour apples, as with any community, but, and I'm not trying to sound snobby with me saying this, just because of the higher price tag of this car, this kind of keeps the kids away. But in terms of just the general vibe of it, they've been pretty great, super helpful. A lot of people are very active, but I mean, that's to be expected just because it's a newer platform. But whether you join a group on Facebook, which is what I've done, or YouTube, everyone seems to be pretty welcoming. And then, just if you see another Supra, it's kind of like an exclusive club. So yeah, if you're really into that, definitely great group. I have not met one single person who has been like that guy. A pro also is definitely, it's good looking, in my opinion. I know everyone is complaining that this doesn't look like the FT1 concept, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, think about this for a second. How often do concept cars end up being the production model? You have exceptions like the BMW i8, but how often do you have cars like that? Not at all. So, once you start modifying it, then it starts becoming tasteful. Then their opinions on it start changing. So, I have it lowered. The previous owner added aero kit, front splitter, side skirts. And then I added the T37s with more aggressive tires. And then, previous owner added this, forged carbon lip. So once people actually see this car in person, they're almost always like, man, honestly, this looks better than I expected. And I thought the same thing. Whenever I first saw the pictures of this car, I was so disappointed. It's like, man, this thing's so ugly. But then I was taking lunch break at work, and then I saw one, and yeah, my thoughts changed completely. And now here I am with it. All right, so now we'll go over the cons. So if you are a hater of this car, definitely this is your section. So basically, the cons for this car as a daily driver, it's a two-seater, it's small, the trunk is small compared to obviously bigger cars. Then also it is low. So, even stock height with this thing, it is pretty low. So if you have joint pains or back pains, and you kind of have a hard time getting into these cars. So for reference, I am 5'9". You can kind of see how tall I am compared to this car. So obviously, and my brother complains about this, he's an inch taller than me, he's 5'10", that he kind of has to fall into the seat. So, I mean, if you're used to small cars, this won't be a big deal to you. But if you're not, then, that's definitely just something to consider, is that. So if you can, if your local dealership has a Supra in their showroom or on the lot, or if you have Turo and you have some extra money to rent out a Supra, I definitely recommend it just so you can, get a feel of this thing. So, once you open the door, this is about where I stand in relative to the height. So now you have an idea. So also it is, it is expensive. This car, its MSRP is $54,000 for the 3.0 for the 6-cylinder, and then about, low to mid 40s for the 4-cylinder. It is expensive. So the wearable items, such as the tires, the brake pads, if you decide to go OEM, doing oil changes at the dealership, and especially gas right now, it is expensive to drive this car. Depending on your age as well, that's gonna attribute to your insurance costs, but I mean also the location is involved with that calculation. But yeah, so that's definitely something to consider, because even if you can afford the payments for this car per month, you need to definitely keep up with the maintenance for this car. If you're more mechanically inclined and you can make the oil changes for this car, then that's going to save you a lot of money. But if you take it to the dealership, waiting for it, and then, you know, about on average, the oil change cost for this is about $120 to $180. So it's pretty pricey. If you're not used to those kind of costs, then, you know, you might be biting your fingernails. So yeah, I mean, even just for example, the tires, if you were to switch the OEM tires that came with this car, it came with Pilot Super Sports, that can run you about, I mean, man, $1,200, $1,400, brand new, you know, from Discount Tire or one of the other vendors that are available to you online. So you definitely have to account for that. And then also, you know, just, I mean, this could be a pro, but if you're low key, even if you decide to get a pretty low key color like myself, I got this, you know, in tungsten silver, the attention that it gets. So I'm kind of filming this in a parking lot near me, and a couple of people have passed by, and obviously they're staring at this car, they're staring at me recording this video. And then whenever you know, obviously fill up for gas, people will approach you and they'll ask you about it. So if you're a shy person, you might want to kind of strategize where you get gas or what time you get gas. But if you know, you're a car enthusiast like myself and you're willing to share this car and share your passion for it, yeah, you know, like that's probably a pro for you. So for me personally, that is a pro for myself because I love to share this. I was one of those kids that played Gran Turismo that had a lot of, you know, those Hot Wheels, Matchbox, little die-cast cars. And, you know, the fact that I was able to afford this, I'm always down to share it. Because there could be one of these kids that I meet at, you know, Cars and Coffee local to me, and they were like me. They're that little kid with their Legos, with their Matchbox, Hot Wheels, that aim to have something like this. So, you know, I let them sit in it, rev it. It's definitely a blessing for me. But if you're not like that, then that's definitely something that you have to account for. All right, so there you guys have it. The pros and cons of, you know, having this car as a daily driver. If you're interested in knowing how much it costs to mod this thing, because I know I mentioned costs and the modability of it, I have another video about that. I'll link it in the description below. But, you know, to summarize everything, definitely weigh out the pros and cons that I listed. Just from my experience, of course, everyone has different experiences. I am not married, I don't have kids, so this is my daily driver. This is my primary vehicle. And it doesn't bother me that, you know, it has small trunk space, it only has 2 seats, so on and so forth. So definitely, you know, use the information that I gave you to make an informed decision. And then also, you know, if you have do you have another vehicle? Do you have an SUV or a sedan that fills the weaknesses of this car? You know, of course, that's another associated cost with it. But if this is going to be your daily driver and then you have, you know, a secondary vehicle for you running errands or whatever, then great, you know, then this car is for you. But yeah, can you also afford the maintenance? You know, like what I mentioned in the cost section, it is expensive to, you know, keep this car maintained, depending on, of course, salary range. But I wouldn't recommend stretching yourself thin for it. But, you know, if you can afford the maintenance for it, you can afford to mod it, then I'd recommend it. And then, of course, lastly, in regards to the financials, if you can find a good deal on this car, you can get it used local. I mean, it might be a little bit difficult in this day and age in 2022 just because of the chip shortage. But if you can get a great deal on this car and the numbers look right for you, then I would definitely recommend, you know, jumping in and joining us in this group. Hopefully this video helps. If you like this content, you know, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a dislike. Let me know where I can improve on it. Yeah, thank you guys again for joining in. Hopefully I can see you guys in the next one.